Welcome to the next episode of the Dark Web Deacon. Before we begin, be sure to smash that subscribe button, click the bell to turn on notifications, and check out the latest items in the Dark Web Deacon merch store. There is a link in the video description below, and become a true Dark Web enthusiast. New videos are published every Monday and Thursday. The Dark Web has always been known to be a place where guns, drugs, and other illicit products and services are readily available with just a few mouse clicks. In today's episode, we're going to focus purely on identity protection, and we're going to look at 10 ways the Dark Web puts your identity at risk every day. Massive amounts of username and password data. The Dark Web contains billions of plaintext usernames and passwords stolen in various breaches. As a consumer, you need to be diligent in ensuring you change critical passwords related to financial accounts, and don't reuse financial credentials for everyday use on non-financial sites. As a company, just because you may not have directly suffered a breach, doesn't mean that employee usernames and passwords are not being sold on the Dark Web, some of which can be leveraged to access databases and other organizational systems or assets. Credential stuffing tools. Credential stuffing tools are pieces of software available on the Dark Web that let criminals load in stolen credentials that have been previously exposed from all the data breaches the last 10 years. A cyber criminal can use a credential stuffing tool to gain access to popular websites such as Amazon, Google, or Netflix, since people often reuse the same username and password across multiple sites. Once they have access, they can cause major damage. Anything from installing malware, ordering products without your knowledge, or stealing your personal data. W-2s and tax fraud documents. Before tax season each year, there is a rush of activity on the Dark Web by fraudsters who have gathered compromised identity information to file fraudulent tax returns before the legitimate taxpayer can. These tax frauds are enabled by the sale of W-2s and other tax fraud-specific documents, which can be tied back to the employers where those documents came from originally. There is currently no solution in place to fix this issue, and a citizen's only recourse is to try and file your taxes as early as possible and hope for the best. RDP shops. Remote Desktop Protocol, or RDP, is a proprietary Microsoft solution that lets remote administrators access a PC. Something great for IT challenges, but can be devastating in the wrong hands. While RDP is a quick and cheap tool to allow for the collaboration between offsite employees, it brings with it the risk of ports being left freely accessible to outsiders. The Dark Web contains dozens of shops selling stolen RDP systems, usually for very low prices, granting buyers remote access to these hacked machines. Once the criminal purchases access, they can log into a victim's computer and essentially have full control. Recent reports have shown attacks targeting RDPs increased by 768% between Q1 and Q4 of last year. DDOS-FÖR-HIRE services. In a DDoS-FÖR-HIRE, cybercriminals on the Dark Web rent out botnets to anyone wishing to use them to carry out distributed denial-of-service attacks against company websites or an individual's Internet of Things device whose IP address is public for trivial amounts of money. Botnets are hard to build without technical expertise, and cybercriminals are making them readily available on the Dark Web. Unless a company has the right countermeasures available in their network, anyone on the Dark Web could use a botnet to drive businesses completely offline until they decide to halt the attack. Disgruntled employee data leaks. In a previous video, I spoke about 6 groups that leak data on the Dark Web. Well, one of the 6 types is a disgruntled employee. Companies should be on the lookout for insiders selling access to their accounts and databases on the Dark Web. Banks and technology companies are especially susceptible to this kind of fraud. The bad actors tend to be guarded in naming a company. In responding to or posting a Dark Web job offer for data, they may say something like, "I have access to a large technology company," rather than naming a specific company. Fraud best practices guides. The Dark Web offers various guides for sale containing detailed step-by-step instructions on how to exploit or defraud an organization. There are entire online courses and even one-on-one tutorials available on how to become a cyber criminal, including how to launch ransomware attacks and how to create malware. Keep in mind that fraudsters use freelancers the same way legitimate companies hire contractors. They also have access to automation and analytics tools to make their jobs easier and more efficient. Bank and credit card information for sale. A robust economy exists for primary account numbers, aka PANs, and bank identification numbers, aka BINs, and general payment card information on the dark web, where sellers update markets with new cards regularly. This has become an ongoing concern for retailers and any company that accepts credit cards. Today, more companies are using automated tools so they can spot payment card fraud earlier in the process. Consumers also need to be vigilant and should respond quickly to any credit card fraud alerts that they may receive. Doxing of VIPs. Doxing is a cyber attack that involves discovering the real identity of an internet user. The attacker then reveals the person's details such as a real name, address, phone number, email address, or IP address, so others can target them with malicious attacks. Dark web and surface web sites like Pastebin are a dumping ground for personal, financial, and technical information with malicious intent. The bad threat actors can aggregate a lot of open source information and use it to humiliate VIPs. Doxing is not illegal. However, if you dox for identity theft, financial gain, stalking, or to blackmail someone, it can become illegal. Ransomware as a service. The pandemic-hit world witnessed a 150% growth of ransomware. Much in the same way DDOS-FÖR-HIRE services productize DDoS attacks, the ransomware as a service model has largely been the driving force behind the sensational growth of ransomware attacks. This MO involves the developer selling or leasing malware to the program affiliates for further network compromise and ransomware deployments. While companies both large and small are the primary focus of ransomware attacks currently, the success of these attacks will inevitably be refocused to attack consumers at scale. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like, subscribe, and provide comments, and turn on notifications by clicking the bell in order to check out future videos published twice a week.